Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So we're going to talk about COVID and the effects on the brain, also narcissism, the effects on the brain. I watched some things on TikTok that I want to address on how everybody thinks everybody is a narcissist now. Where are we going in society? Before I start, I just want to say protect yourselves. I've told you guys, if you are a subscriber or a viewer of my channel, that I have narcissistic neighbors. And sometimes with narcissists, as long as you're cool with them, you're cool with them, but don't cross them. You got to get along with some just because you live next door to them or work with them or whatever. But for the last, I don't even know, 2 decades, 20 years, at least, probably 3 decades, I've lived with my shades closed. It just makes me feel safer. I've been broken into many times. I've had my car torched, broken into my house when I was sleeping. So for my protection, also the abusive stuff I've been through, I keep my shades closed. I start feeling sad for my dog because it's kind of like doggy TV. So after my sister came over and was like, you need to open these shades up. So I opened them up. And I don't still open them that much. But I was sitting on my couch and I just got a Facebook Messenger with a picture of me sitting on the couch. So narcissists love to watch you. They love to invade your privacy, make you feel uncomfortable. It's just odd how they act. So even I don't even know. But as far as this COVID stuff, we're going to talk about that because I was watching CNN today and they had mentioned the effects on the brain. We're going to go into some scientific stuff on that. And then also, I was watching just a TikTok, a girl doing little dance moves while she's walking through Target. And people called her a narcissist. Now, I do TikToks, I do YouTube. Some of these things are educational. Some of them people want attention. Some of them are both. And we're in this digital world right now where people are just sometimes just seeking attention. They want to be noticed. And this is something that kind of ties in with the stuff going on with COVID and people's abuse that they've gone through, the traumas from childhood. There is a pandemic worldwide, especially in America. We have the most mental illness. There's a pandemic of mental illness. People are seeking validation. And if you guys have been in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, you weren't validated. And hurt people hurt people. So the narcissist wasn't validated. So in turn, they don't validate. They don't know how to love. And when we're caught up in our abuse, we're not loving the right way either. We need to, in a healing sense, kind of shut down, kind of reflect and go through the emotions and maybe sleep because we're depressed or whatever, but we're not functioning high capacity or the full capacity that we could. I'll be honest with you guys, talking on YouTube, it's Saturday night and I'd rather spend time with you guys. It gives me something to do, but I don't want you guys to get too caught up in, I went to the beach today, so you got to get out, to get too caught up into just watching YouTube videos. It helped me in the beginning, and it's still helpful. I still kind of watch, for research reasons. Knowledge will help you heal quicker. It'll help you see all the damage that has happened to us, but also what is going on in our subsequent relationships and the damage that is done. And it's just like snowballing out of control. And everybody's so quick to judge now too. And it's damaging society. That girl, who knows what her real personality is? Maybe she was in a cute little sundress, but it's very appropriate. She could wear it to church or something. She's just dancing in Target. It's kind of odd that they go through Target to be in the public eye. Like, I do my stuff outside. I don't really go into Walmart and record these things, or I do it inside my house. But how quick people were to judge somebody's personality. And maybe she was seeking attention. Sometimes just when you seek attention doesn't necessarily mean you're a narcissist. She could be the kindest, hardest, sweetest person, but maybe she is lacking something, or maybe it's a challenge to her. Let's see if I can be a TikTok star. So people who commented, whoa, it's not so much about her, it's about the comments and the hate. And I wasn't talking to you, I was replying to this person, and yeah, she is narcissist, or how is this a narcissist? And you can't I mean, arguments all over the internet with people we don't even know. Nobody brushes things aside anymore. People come back so angry so easily. They don't just delete comments. What hurt us is when we weren't acknowledged. But with people that we don't know, we have to think about our um liability to them. Went to law school. We talked about moral and legal responsibility. If you see somebody drowning, you don't have to help them. Morally you should, legally you do not have to. But if you take a step towards them, or grab onto the life preserver, now you have a legal responsibility, because whatever movement you made, if you said, I'll call 911, and you didn't, whatever movement you made brought it into a legal responsibility, because maybe somebody's not going to act now because you made that little motion. So just like strangers that we've never met, but if you interact with them, maybe you should sum up the conversation, or just say, look, we can agree to disagree, and we don't need to continue to talk. We don't validate people. People feel entitled to get responses from strangers across the internet when they're rude to them. That's a thing. The rudeness that is in America, the entitlement, or all over the world. I also watched this thing. It was just a quick little clip about Indian women, women from India, how they view Americans. And she was very polite. She wasn't too quick to judge. She was kind of politically correct in her answers. But Oprah has said, do you think Americans get a lot of divorces? And she was just, and they cut the clip, but you could see in her facial expressions kind of like, haha. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She did say, well, that would be open to discussion. Kind of like, yeah, there's a lot I could say on that. And then they cut the clip. But we do have a lot of divorces. And the Indian women have a different thing. You know, arranged marriages, ironically, end up being happier. Some of them can be extremely abusive. They can. Some of them are really sad, where they sell a 6-year-old kid. The father or the husband promises not to do anything sexually till later. But who knows what happens? It's kind of sad, some of the things that you see. But it's weird how arranged marriages work out better. Sometimes that's just the expectations, and the submissiveness, kind of like, you have nothing else to do, you have to do this, and you feel like there's no way out. And they just like prisoners, at the 7-year mark is when you break your prisoner. Before then, they haven't really accepted, this is life, this is it. After a 7-year mark, and what's interesting is at that 7-year mark, that's when a lot of marriages fall apart. A lot of relationships don't make it past that. Though might take 8 years to get the divorce, but the average is something about that 7-year itch. You know, what is it about that? Also with baseball, what's the 7-inning stretch? Why don't they do like a 4.5 or 5-inning stretch? What is it about? Thought I was lucky number 7. But as far as what we're going through with COVID, and how the brain damage affects mental illness, and is this going to be something that adds on? Because the purpose of this video is we see things like on that TikTok thing, everybody is quick to judge, everybody's angry, nobody's getting along. And nobody, when I use words like nobody and never, it means high amount. I gotta be real more aware that I do that. But this is the thing. 1 in 7 people who've had COVID-19 virus have developed neurological side effects. And these symptoms, uh, some of their symptoms affected their brain function. So comment below if you guys have struggled with long COVID. Hopefully you guys have been healthy. I lost a cousin at 30 years old to COVID. He also had influenza A and comorbidities. But his father almost passed away. His father was admitted an hour after the son died. His mother also got blood clots, and it's been really hard. My mother's had blood clots. There's a lot of things. My daughter lost her sense of smell and taste. There's a lot of things with this virus, and it's where I am. I just got an alert today that we're on high alert for COVID. And even with the vaccination, people are still getting it. So anyways, this trend is kind of like a different kind of brain fog complications. It was also seen in SARS and H1N1, and it might take months for experts to discover the reason behind these issues, but they think it's largely has to do with the stress of living through the pandemic paired with the physical toll that the virus takes on the body. So we have all gone through these stressors, whether it is you lost your job or the increase rise in food costs or gas prices. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you had something where I know where I live in Michigan for a while, you couldn't move. You couldn't get a U-Haul. So even if you were in a toxic relationship, you couldn't leave. So these possible brain complications, I'd like to talk more because this mental illness is on a rise. And with all the drug use, it seems like drug use is on the rise, which affects, the offspring as well. So we gotta figure this out because we're just gonna have a bunch of people with brain damage, and when they're not able to process the right kind of information, they hurt other people. When other people are hurt, just like we are getting brain damage from the toxic relationships that we've been in. And be careful how you react to that, because a lot of us have taken on reactive abuse, and it could just be snapping at somebody, even at work. Like, I know, I'll get to it. And we're making them uncomfortable now. They're walking on eggshells not to upset us, and we got to be careful. Everything is intertwined. So brain fog, that's just a vague term, describes the many lingering symptoms of the virus that are related to the mental function. And these side effects usually can even happen weeks after someone was healed. From the initial flu-like symptoms that COVID has, 20% of people who've had COVID-19 develop short-term memory loss, poor attention span, or fatigue. Now, I don't know for sure. I think I had COVID right when it shut down. We shut down the country, like March 16th is when our schools closed or something like that back in 2020. I was sick for 6 weeks. I don't know for sure if I had COVID. I live alone, so I just didn't go anywhere. 6 weeks sick, and I've had some brain fog. Sometimes I wonder, is it because of the stress of the things I've gone through, my sadness, depression? I was actually financially very well off because I still got paid from the school, and I taught online as well for a different company. So I like double dip so it wasn't stress about money. But extreme fatigue, but I had mono when I was in 10th grade. So I struggle with chronic fatigue. So what exactly is going on? Do I have brain fog? Is it because of the narcissistic abuse that I went through? Who knows? But I struggle with that. So other people have reported more serious brain-related effects from COVID-19. Some experts think that this is a result of having a more severe illness or suffering from low oxygen for prolonged periods of time. So that is one thing about COVID, is it does kind of stifle the brain's ability to process the oxygen. Our brain is a living portion of our body, So some of the symptoms of COVID, I'm sure some of you know it, but some main ones are headaches, seizures, and they're seeing an increase in seizures. Can also cause stroke, loss of consciousness. So this is others who've had COVID have problems with the nerves outside their brain and spinal cord. And this includes Guillain-Barré syndrome, and that can cause lung failure and paralysis. The exact number of people that have that GBS is not exactly known. Seems kind of rare, but it's they're studying the tie between the GBS and COVID-19, but certain COVID-19 treatments might lessen the volume of gray matter in the outer layers of the brain. Let me read that again to you guys. Certain COVID-19 treatments might also lessen the volume of gray matter, which is the outer layers of the brain. So people who went under oxygen therapy during the virus infection that they had lower gray matter volume in their brain's frontal lobe compared to those with COVID-19 who didn't need oxygen treatment. So the lower gray matter in this area was linked to more intense disability for up to 6 months. So it's damaging our brains. It's uncertain exactly how long people have it. There's some other things I want to tell you about too, though, is people are suffering from seizures, and it's really starting to get a little scary on what exactly is going on. Is it going to affect us? So the other thing, though, is the increased depression and anxiety. So there were among COVID-19 19 patients in an age group older than 65 who had COVID experienced a brain fog, dementia, psychotic disorders at a higher rate compared to adults that were of the same age but didn't get COVID, had no respiratory symptoms. And in this study, there were 400 cases of dementia per 10,000 people compared to 330 per 10,000 who just had other respiratory infections. So the oxygen in the brain does make a difference if there's lower lung function, but COVID seemed a lot more extreme. It just had a higher rate, and the results were less dramatic in the younger age groups. Children were at lower overall risk of poor brain outcomes compared to adults. So age can make a difference, but to relate it back to everything is the pandemic or pandemic of mental illness. They do have a stigma on it. And this is where I kind of struggle with it, because we do all have to live with each other. How do we deal with it? So we can give certain resources, but we can't give everything. We cannot give everything. It's different from helping people in a professional environment than having a husband or a wife or a spouse or a mate that you're around 24/7 damaging you. If you go to a birthday party with a narcissist, you'll probably make it through. Depends on how narcissistic they are, though. They can destroy any good setting. They can get physical. They have triggers from the outside. And sometimes those triggers, we don't even know what they are. We don't even know. Sometimes it could be a jealousy thing. They think they're going to show up on top of the world with the best looking date, and then they start to feel uncomfortable because 6 other people had better looking dates or whatever it is, or they start to feel self-conscious, or they're talking and somebody looks away and they're like, that was rude. And then they just start in that downward spiral, going into a narcissistic rage or shutting down, or you might leave with them, but they're going to bitch the whole way home. They're going to make it uncomfortable for you. How do we handle this? How do we handle it? They talk about gray rocking, where you just show no effect. You just don't let them affect you. That is the most effective way. It's kind of like dealing with it in a professional manner, even though it's your ex or whoever. But where you're like, I understand that. That's great. You feel that way, but this is what we're doing. Or are we meeting at 6 o'clock, or you want to do 7 o'clock? And if they go round and round and say, those were your options, 6 or 7, you can let me know or whatever. But you can let me know by Tuesday. Otherwise, I'm going to make other plans. We have to treat them in a different way for it to be effective. So if you have kids with a narcissist, a lot of times you do have to have interactions. You're court ordered to notify them of certain things, medical issues, or grades, or who their teacher is. You're court ordered to. And be real careful with narcissists, because they like to turn things around, build cases against you. You know, they get uncomfortable not knowing things. They'll sometimes stalk your Facebook to see what you're doing. My first narcissist reached out to this guy I was dating, and I'm from Michigan. He was in Boston. I flew out to see him, and he called the guy and tried to destroy the relationship. And granted, it was just like the beginning of, who knows, just why not, let's hang out. And it was so far away. It wasn't gonna work out. But on my second date, right after, my narcissist had my subpoenaed phone records during our custody battle, and decided to call the guy. How do we handle that? With no contacts and things like that. Personal protection orders. We really have to be careful with who we're dealing with, because sometimes my first, or basically both of them, weren't really all that bad until the discard. They weren't great. There was red flags, but it wasn't, I don't know if I would say, it was lonely. It was lonely. So that's not good. That's not why you're in a relationship. But after, the end of the relationship, holy smokes, things went terrible. So sometimes, there was another person that commented today, like it was our fault. And it's like, what I went through, sometimes it takes years to see the red flags. My second one had promised he was faithful, leaving his situation, and so he asked me to hold on. He's separated and things like that, and then he kind of laughed in your face like, are you kidding? You believed that? And we're made fun of for believing and double checking and asking things, and you know there's no remorse. There's no, yeah, I lied, I misled you. You're believing in them. If you have this gut instinct, you're trying to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, like, what's up? There's excuses for everything. They just don't take accountability. So they're so good at lying, or the word salads, or making us question everything, that is it really our fault? Like, I've asked all the right questions. I communicated so many different ways, and I tried to make it comfortable to, just open up to me. Whatever is fine. Just tell me and so even with the new supply, they're going to go through those cycles. I was watching another TikToker who, she is polyamorous. And somebody had asked her, would it have worked out with you and your husband if you weren't polyamorous? And she's like, probably not. Probably not. I like girls, I like guys, and in the past what I would do is I'd be with one and then I'd, not that I didn't even like them, I would just leave them for the other gender. And then that cycle continued. It's, you know, they don't look at the value of the person they're with. And so she feels that it saved her marriage, and she discarded quite a few people. No one was enough. They had to keep adding. There's something about and I'm not I don't know her enough to say if she's a narcissist or not, but she does seem kind of like spoiled bratish. Um Low self-esteem, even though she's gorgeous, and you can see, like, she put, this is a thing, like, you can see that in most of her videos she is so happy and just excited and life is good and I'm the naughty girl and just life is good. um and it kind of has the flair of, I don't give a fuck what you think. This is what we're gonna do. We're breaking the rules and we don't care. She says videos of you know, what do we do? And we have a new date come over. All the little, we buy their favorite foods, and it was almost like a grooming kind of thing. And now I'll do that too. I'll buy you what you want for dinner, but it was like a creepiness to it. You know, I could say, hey, you know, what do you want for dinner? You want steak or hamburgers? What is it you want? You know, but it was like creepy. So there's a difference, and that's the thing. It's the intent behind it. Some of these narcissists are great. Some of them play the victim. Um, and some narcissism is necessary for us to survive. So we all have those tools in our toolbox, but narcissists use it to the extreme. They believe their lies. They don't self-reflect. They don't use it. They'll use it maybe for self-preservation, but not self-protection. So me meeting a guy who's asking my address, I'm gonna, you know, if he's being too pushy, maybe I'll lie to him. I'm not gonna tell him, oh, this is where I live, because I got a vibe that it wasn't safe, to just to protect myself. But self-preservation, how they use it is due to their low self-esteem, that's what they're preserving, is their sense of self. And they don't really have it. They don't really know who they are, because you gain that through mirroring. The mother figure could be the father, whoever is interacting with the child. I worded that wrong, but they mirror, and that's how they learn. How do you pick up a fork? How do you use scissors? It's mirroring. What facial expressions do we use? You know, do we look people in the eyes? Just some of it, you got to talk to them about it, but they didn't get the mirroring. The mirroring that they got was anger, or neglect. That's what they know. They know anger and neglect. So that's what they're going to mirror. And it's ingrained in them. And also with the damage to the brain, it's something they can't pull from. Depending on the damage that was done, they can have some empathy. They can understand, maybe not feel, but they can understand how society works, how healthy relationships should be. Just like in the schools, we have to say you're sorry. But it's just like sometimes with narcissists, is it's just parroting. It's just mimicking, being told what to say and saying it. So some narcissists can apologize because they're parroting what they're told to do. this is what works. You're supposed to say it. They see other people do it, so they're going to mimic it. Like, oh, you almost got divorced and you did what with your wife and you apologize? Okay, so I need to do that. It doesn't mean I mean it. Um, maybe turn on the crocodile tears. Whatever it is, it's a manipulation thing to self-preservate. Is that a word? Uh, self-preserve. So in society, it's just flourishing. It's out of control. I told you guys I start my new job at the public schools. I was at a charter school. I taught all over. But I'm going to do some research because it seems each year it gets worse and worse with how the kids are. And now we have COVID on top of it. These kids have been through the pandemic. It's probably still gonna, cause inconsistencies. One of our teachers was already out with COVID just last week. He went to the Philippines. I don't know. It sounds like he got it on the trip, maybe from the airplane or maybe over there. But we're high risk right now. We're all going back to school next week. And they're going to see their teachers aren't always there. Are they going to have abandonment issues? Are they going to understand, no, the teacher was sick? Are they going to have a fear that they're going to lose the teacher to death because of all this stuff? Traumatic events at a young age, whether it's divorce or whatever we went through with this pandemic, they also didn't develop social skills. It's going to be interesting to see because I'd like to keep track of how this is going to affect how the damage from COVID, sometimes even that 6-month lapse. If you think about it, okay, Cynthia, it's only 6 months. You get your brain fog cleared up. Think about in 6 months what that can do to a marriage. And if they lived in the same house, they might have both had COVID at the same time. Now you got 2 people with that. So I just thought it was interesting. Please like and subscribe. Topic requests are always welcome because I love to help you guys out. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.